So hello and welcome to the channel. I am Wendy. This is Wendy's Pet Salon and this is my little salon at home. Thank you to all the subscribers, and if you are new, welcome on board. I do hope you will stick around and watch some of the videos. You give them a like, a share, a follow, or consider subscribing. It would mean the world. So let's crack on. So today I thought I'd talk about clipping inside feet, what I use, why I use it, and the different options I have depending on the dog. For inside the pads, I prefer to use a small mini clipper rather than my main commercial clippers with, say, a 10, a 15 or a 30 blade. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using your main clippers, lots of groomers do, but personally I find the smaller clippers lighter, quieter and much easier to manoeuvre around those little pads. I also find a smaller clipper is less likely to cause grazing or irritation. The skin between the pads can be quite delicate, and the smaller blade gives more control without having to apply unnecessary pressure or repeatedly going over the same area. Commercial clippers and blades can also heat up quite quickly, particularly when you're using them throughout a busy grooming day. So that's another reason I prefer a smaller clipper for this job. My favourite is the Artero Spectra. It's a 4-in-1 clipper with adjustable settings, and for pads I generally use it on the number 2 setting. It has a ceramic blade, which is another reason that I really like it. I find it stays cool and it gives me plenty of control in such small, delicate areas, and with it being ceramic, I find it's less likely to graze the skin with it being ceramic. Ideally, I prefer to do this on a clean coat. Clean hair is kinder to your blades and your clippers, and I find you get a much cleaner finish. I also have an even tinier clipper that I sometimes use, which is called the Kiss clipper, which I will show you. It's brilliant for really tiny feet, but it's also useful for dogs that aren't keen on the sound or the feel of the Spectra. Sometimes simply changing to a different clipper can make all the difference. And I don't believe in battling with a dog just to get a clipper between its pads. If they're genuinely uncomfortable with it, I'll change what I'm doing. I can use my small scissors instead, or sometimes my little bullnose scissors, which I'll show you, depending on the dog and what needs removing. Of course, whichever clipper you use, your technique is really important. I'm careful with my angle and pressure, and I avoid repeatedly going over that delicate skin. As groomers, we have different tools available to us for a reason. What works perfectly for one dog might not work for another. For me, it's not about having to use a particular tool, it's about choosing the safest and most comfortable option for the dog in front of me. Use the tool that suits the dog rather than making the dog suit the tool. And you've been watching lovely Tinkerbell, who is a Cavapoo. And the next doggy you will see is Chucky the Field Spaniel, and I'll take you through some of my clippers. See you in the next part. So, I'm with Chucky now, and I'm just about to do the inside of her pad. I'll just do a little close-up picture so you can see what it looks like now. So this is the inside of Chucky's foot, and this is 6 weeks worth of hair growth on her foot. So, as I was saying in my little voice note there, I like to use my Artero trimmers for inside the feet now. They don't heat up, they have different settings, So if I think a foot is going to be very sensitive, I can move this up. So that's the longest one is on now. Then you'll see the blade go down and down and down. So I can, it's a 4-in-1 setting. So depending on how sensitive the foot might be, I can use these different blade lengths. The other thing that I do have, which is super, super quiet, is the little kiss clipper. I'm not sure if this is available. So it is still available, and it comes up as £78.19p including VAT, and it's free second class postage. First class is £2.40, so that's extra at checkout. I'll put that in the description. Still, but if it is, I'll put it in the description. I know that the Spectra is, I think when I bought it was about £165. You can actually change these blades as well. So this is for the 4-in-1 with the shorter blades. So that is where you'll get your 10, 15, 30, and I believe a 9. And then you can get other ones. This is a 7F. So you can use this. I have tried the 7F, but I just use it for little bits like the backs of hocks and things like that. I don't generally use it. I use my 7F on my commercial clipper. So obviously this one is super, super quiet, and I can also I can adjust the speed and the power on it. So if so that's the high, that's the highest it will go, and then it'll go low. So this is a little bit quieter than this. So that's that. That's that. So it is a little bit quieter, because even dogs don't like these little mini trimmers. This is if I was to use the 10, I find it bulky. It also, like I say, can overheat. So if you were like grooming a dog and you forgot and you picked it up, for instance, without checking, and you use it inside a foot, you know, these heat up really quickly. I do have the Showtech instant ice split, and it makes it super, super cold very, very quickly. So if you are sort of doing matted dogs and things, and you haven't got a change of blade, or for whatever reason, I do recommend this to cool your blades. It's also got a really handy tool as well that connects on the aerosol, and it'll spray inside, and it helps get the hair from inside, which is great. Yeah, so I find this really bulky to use. I just don't like it. So I either use my Spectra if they allow, or I'll try the small one. If they really don't like the clippers in their feet, I'll scissor it. So I'll use a small pair of scissors, ideally the bullnose ones, especially if you're a new groomer. You know, using sharp scissors in feet can be quite dangerous, and obviously the bullnose ones are a little bit safer. So I can just trim off the fur. I can also put it inside. Oh, tickly feet. Put it inside and take it out like that. I hold it flat and I avoid the pad at all costs, because these pads are quite bulbous, and if you were to go over that way, then you could quite possibly cut the pad. So if you go with the hair, you know, so this part of the blade is nowhere near the actual pad itself. So you see when I'm cutting, I'm going in between those areas. nowhere near the bulbous part, and then inside that way, around, and you can go from the sides as well. So you're avoiding that there. Now, that's what I've taken off with the scissors, just as a scissor. I can also use, now I'm just going to show you my clippered foot. So that's now on the 2 setting. This is how much more it gets in. Now you don't want to dig it in. You just want to go in gently, up and away, down and out, down and out. And also, I always like to give it a brush, the pad, because as you can see, there's more hair that's popped out there. So, as you can see, added to the scissor hair, that's how much more hair I got off. I think on the floor. So yeah, and obviously because Chucky goes 6 weeks, I want her feet to be as comfortable as possible. And people say, oh well, maybe you shouldn't do them so severe. I'm not using, you know, a 30 blade inside there. They do have some protection. It's not completely removed. And also, if people are stupid enough to take their dogs on hot surfaces like we might have now, then more fool them, because you're going to burn your dog's feet. So, you know, to keep them nice and clean, especially like when they're going through mud and stuff like that, it sets in their feet, and when they're walking it can be really uncomfortable, and it will build on the mat that can sometimes build like a horseshoe mat inside the foot. So yeah, so those are the things that I might use. Obviously these were still about £100. I think these were £165, but if you maintain them, you know, you take the blaze off and you like I've just used that, brush that off. You still need to oil them, but obviously with it being ceramic as well, I don't feel that it's going to graze the foot. And obviously, like I say, the added bonus is that I can make the blade a little bit longer if the foot, I think, is a little bit sensitive. They're brilliant for poodles' faces and feet as well. I don't generally use my commercial clipper doing that now, because I mean, back in the day I didn't have mini trimmers. They were a godsend when I found them, but I used to use these, so that's how I know about the cooling spray. And also swapping out your blades, so I might use sort of 3 blades going around doing poodles' faces and feet. So obviously start with the face, it would be warm by then, and I'm going to a foot, I probably would change it's too warm with the back of my hand, it's not going near the dog. So yeah, that was just to show you a little bit about what I use to trim inside my pads. So I hope that helps, and I will do, when I've finished, a close-up of one of Chucky's feet, so that you can see the difference, and I'll put a before and an after picture for you at the end. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like, a follow, a share. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and as always, thank you so much for everybody that comments and likes and shares and subscribes. It means the world, and it helps the channel grow. We're nowhere near monetization, but I'm still enjoying it, and you know, I enjoy doing these little videos for you, and I really do hope that they help and raise awareness for different little things, or they may just help you in some small way. So I am off this weekend, so the next one I will do, let me just have a look. Yeah, we've got a full day on Monday, so watch out for Monday, day 4 of 30 days of random dog grooming videos. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.